Hey everyone, and welcome back to the Problem with Authority podcast. I'm your host, Kirsten Kelly, and today we are talking about the problem with jobs. I'm really just going to be going on a little rant here because I graduate from graduate school in a few days, next Friday, or this coming up Friday. I am so excited to be done and have a master's degree. But the downside is I'm no longer a student, and that means that I now have to work till I die. So that's fun. I just wanted to hop on today and talk about just the struggles that I went through with finding a job, things that I learned, things that I don't think should exist when finding a job, and just shedding some light for those people that believe, oh, if somebody in poverty, just get a job. Even students graduating from college, parents put a lot of pressure on them to do this and do that. Just get a job. You're lazy, you're this. No, it's really hard right now, especially with COVID happening and the way that our economy is right now. So let's get into it. All right. So, one of the first things that I want to touch on are the problem with all of the fees that you have to pay before you even start your job. So I experienced this a few years back when I started my job as I had worked as an assistant teacher in a preschool, and you had to pay to get drug tested, and then I think you also had to pay for some of the DCF courses that you had to do. But for some reason a few years ago it just didn't bother me as much as it does now, and I think that's because I'm coming off of all the payments for my master's, rent, just I don't know, it feels different this time around. And I luckily did find a job after grad school. I'm going to be a school social worker back in my hometown, which I'm really excited about. But I didn't realize the amount of fees that I would have to pay to just start a job. So in the state of Florida, even school social workers have to pay to become certified in Florida. I guess it's like a teaching certificate technically as part of their onboarding process. It's like $75. I wasn't expecting to pay that fee. I know in Florida you have to get drug tested, and I'm still not 100% sure if I have to pay for that, but I've paid for drug tests in the past and they're super expensive. And then on top of those fees, I had to pay, just to graduate, which is not going to be like a huge gap between my graduation date and my working, my new job start date, and as well as all of the fees that we have to pay in the social work field in order to get licensed. So we have to pay for supervision. Not everybody does. If you're lucky, if you have a supervisor at your job, or your supervisor, lets you be supervised for free, but that's not the case for everybody. You have to pay to become a registered intern in order to start counting your hours towards licensure, which is a good, 100 something bucks. And then supervision, I think, is like bi-weekly for an hour. Some supervisors make you pay like what somebody would pay for a therapy session. So it can be like 50 to 100 something dollars. And then on top of that, in like a year or so, you have to pay for taking the test and then getting licensed. So I just never thought about having a separate savings account just for fees in order for me to start jobs and get the job. Like, nobody ever explained it to me like that. So that was a little frustrating. And I think, mind opening too, because a lot of people are like, oh, if you're this, just go get a job. And it's like, well, if you don't have any money to start with, how are you supposed to get a job? How are you supposed to pay for all these things? Because they're not cheap at all. And I think that definitely needs to change. Like, why are we paying all this money when I haven't even started working yet? I haven't even started making money off of these other jobs. It's ridiculous. It's absolutely ridiculous. And for social workers too, even if you want to be just a therapist anywhere, you have to become a registered intern. So you have to pay for it. So on top of the fees that I have to pay for the school social work job, I think I also have to pay for like my registered intern stuff, if I'm going to be licensed in Florida. So that's fun. Not really. I think we need to talk about this more because nobody warned me about all these fees, really. And that's really frustrating. And then you also have to pay to get these things renewed. It's not cheap. All right, moving on. So, the next point I want to make is that finding a job right now is hard. And anybody that's doing it, I applaud you. I'm right there with you with it being frustrating and scary and just seeing the pressure on grad students right now to have a dream job or just have a job in general that has to do anything with their major. I think I'm fortunate because I am in the mental health field and everybody is not okay right now, that there are a lot of jobs, but we're going to get into the type of jobs and how they're not always the best in a minute. But y'all can play this episode for whoever is being mean to you and not giving you the space to breathe and understanding how hard it is right now to find these positions. I was talking to my boyfriend Austin, and he double majored in business marketing and management, and he was saying that because of COVID, a lot of the business in the business world, they laid off a lot of managers and lower level entry level workers, right? So now that COVID's kind of getting better and places are opening up and they're able to hire again, these people, the managers that were fired are getting hired for these entry level positions. So they're like overqualified and they're hurting all of the people that just got a degree or only have like 1 to 2 years of experience, and those people can't find a job. So it's a really bad cycle. And in social work, one of the biggest jobs that I see people take is community mental health. And I did my internship where I'm a week away from being done at a community mental health place. And it's not it's not okay what community mental health does to therapists. They definitely exploit them, they definitely overwork them. They definitely don't pay them for the amount of work that they do. And for those of you that don't know, it's a contracted therapy position, which I feel like in every other profession, if you're contracted, that means like awesome pay, awesome hours. But not in our world. It means that you only get paid if the organization gets paid through insurance. And some places will withhold payments, even though they're not allowed to. A lot of insurance fraud going on, honestly. But they'll withhold your money and not pay you. So you can be seeing best practices like 30 clients a week, around that 25 to 30 clients a week. But if you're community based mental health, a lot of places only accept Medicaid. And if you accept Medicaid, you can't charge for no-show fees. So, and typically how it works is you might have 30 clients scheduled for that week, and sometimes only 10 of them will show up. So you're only getting paid for those 10 clients that showed up. So that's only 10 hours of work. And that doesn't include all the other hours of work that you did, scheduling, documentation, home visits, anything like that, or parent calls, anything outside of what the community deems worthy of you getting paid for. Some people can get paid salary, but the salaries are a joke, especially what I see them offering master's students with 2+ years experience that are about to be licensed. It's just really bad, and it's really frustrating to me to watch social workers go through that, and then to also know that the people that run these organizations are social workers themselves, so they're just perpetuating this harmful cycle, which is ridiculous. And there needs to be more, I think, awareness about this, because in our profession there's a lot of it. When you're in the education aspect of things, they tell you, oh, like, it's everybody else that doesn't value us, it's everybody else's problem, or it's everybody else's issue with us. They're the ones that don't value us, they're the ones that don't see what we do and why it should be paid a certain, like, honestly, just a livable wage. Like, in a lot of these places, it's not a livable wage with a master's degree, which is really scary. But what I have seen is that it's a lot of social workers that are doing the harm. It's not these other people that we like to point fingers at. The social workers are taking on those models and exploiting and overworking and underpaying us. So I don't know what you do when that's the problem. Like, and there's no regulations. I don't know, and it's really scary, and it sucks because on social media all I'm seeing is mental health awareness, mental health this, mental health is important. We're trying to break the stigma, but then I'm seeing a lack of jobs that actually value you and pay you what you're worth and give you good hours as a mental health professional. So if you guys want mental health, if you want people to be able to have access to that, like therapists also got to get paid to do it. But then also, too, therapy isn't accessible to everybody. But at the same time, like therapists are not okay. So there's a lot going on that needs to be talked about and fixed because it's really sad and it's hard out here. And I know I'm in Tallahassee, so I'm definitely this is the worst place to get a job because they know that college students live here. They know that they could take advantage of them. They know that people are disposable. But it's really sad to watch, and it's scary, honestly. I mean, the job that I have that I got working in Kissimmee is really well, and it pays really well compared to what I see, social workers making here in Tallahassee. So I'm really grateful, but it shouldn't be that hard. We have a master's degree. Like, if master's degrees aren't going to mean anything, what what are we gonna do? And then I see those, the little celebrities promoting like BetterHelp or Talkspace. Stop promoting those. Stop promoting those. I have read way too many terrible, terrible things about those companies. It's the same kind of model that they use with community mental health, exploiting therapists, overworking them, underpaying them, and then that trickles down into how clients receive services. And I'm those companies scare me because they know that mental health is quote unquote trendy right now. So they're going to take advantage of that. They're going to hop on that trend. They're going to get Demi Lovato. They're going to get Michael Phelps to promote it. And then people are going to buy into it. And then that's going to be how therapists are supposed to make money with it, which it's not a great model because it treats therapists like shit. Like it doesn't. What's happening is like, yes, there's a need for mental health, but we're not adding in that component of like, yep, let's value therapists. It's the same with teaching, and it's just really shitty. But I don't want people to think that those platforms are amazing and they're solving so many things because they're not. They're really not. I've read too many bad things. And when I posted that on my story the other day, I got a few DMs from people saying, yeah, absolutely not. And then it sucks too because I know that some social workers on Instagram, they, have a lot of followers, so they get like BetterHelp or those things to pay them to do like sponsorships and like paid promotions, which is great, and I get it because out here in the social work world, multiple streams of income, yes please, because of how it's not the best out here. But at the same time, it's like we shouldn't have to be promoting things that aren't great just because we're not getting paid great in the field. It's just a vicious cycle, and it's really sad. And I don't really know what to do about that. But I really just wanted to come on here and rant. And if anybody relates, let me know. But long story short, it's hard out here finding a job. It's not easy. Uh, when I was applying, some of the companies that I applied for and then got an interview with, they seemed a little desperate too, which was interesting. Um, but don't let these things discourage you. And if you have a good relationship with your family, move home. Move home and tell them to not make you pay rent. That's what I'm doing. That's the best thing that you can do because you need money. You need like money to be able to put into savings before you can go live your life. I don't know how people just leave school and then move. Like, I don't know how they do that because you need to have a foundation. But I think that that's the best option. But then I know people that don't have that good relationships with family members, and moving home is not an option for them. So they're really out there struggling. But yeah, I think that's it. That's it, guys. This is a 15-minute episode. It's cute. I like it. But now that my job with FSU is ending, that's going to be so nice because I do a lot of video editing and content editing for them. And it's just been really hard to do all that editing over there and then to turn around and make episodes and edit my episodes. It was just exhausting, plus trying to graduate, finding a job, and all that. So now I definitely feel like I have the energy and time to come back to this and get it more on a consistent schedule. All right. Bye.